Hello boys and girls, it's Ant here, and this is the first of the Mellow Gaming Recommends Addendums or Postmortems or whatever. This is a thing that I made as a stretch goal on Patreon, where basically once we hit £10 per video, I was going to do a little, behind the scenes type videos for the Mellow Gaming Recommends episodes, and I'm not quite sure what sort of format this takes. Tell me what you like most from it, and we'll sort of skew future ones towards them. But my first idea is that it's kind of going to be a mixture of little facts about the game and stuff, and background information. I'm going to show how I edit some of the stuff, how I cut it all together. The sort of thing where anyone who's a professional editor will probably hate everything I've done. But you know what? I mean, no one taught me how to edit. I had to figure it out myself. So I don't know the proper ways of doing this. It's probably all wrong. Who cares? You edit how you want to edit. So what we're doing is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Mellow Gaming Recommends episode, and this is the entire timeline down here. I've stretched this out so you can see. Oh god, I clicked on the wrong part because I'm bad at this. Right, I clicked. That's the entire timeline there. Normally, when I'm editing these videos, I'll have like my, this is all my files for all the various Mellow Gaming Recommends we've done. And this is all the files that were used in this episode. All sorts of stuff where I've some of it's my capture video game footage, some of it's where, I've just recorded stuff that I needed, clips and things. But normally when I edit, and this is definitely the wrong way to edit because I know it upsets Under the Moons when he sees it, I take my footage from the game, which I can't find. Where's my game footage? I'll find it. There it is. Right, game footage, Power Rangers, SNES. And what I do is I always have that in the timeline here for the main thing. So as I'm editing and I'm picking clips out, I lay out my stuff and I find the clip I need over here. This is slightly brighter than it should be. For some reason, I don't know why, recently when I'm capturing footage using the Retron 5, actually on any console even, the footage has been coming out slightly lighter than it should be. So I've been scaling it down. So when you watch the actual video, the footage of the Power Rangers clips is scaled down. See how it's properly black there? And on here it's like a grey. I've been having to tweak that every time. But this is what I usually start with. I chuck all the video footage I'm going to need there. And the first things I do is I choose what music I'm going to have as I go along. And then I lay out the script. So we're going to zoom in. So I wanted to start this strong, so the first song I picked was the main theme, the Power Rangers theme, which when I put this on, was that playing the music through my speakers there? Yeah, it is. It's playing the music through my speakers, so I'm going to have to just mute my speakers there. I set the audio to come through my headphones. Anyway, the first thing I choose is the Power Rangers theme, and I uploaded a little preview of this on YouTube a few days before I uploaded the main episode, and this got me a content ID, the SNES Power Rangers theme, so be warned about that. Apparently just the Power Rangers melody can get you content ID'd. Weirdly the full episode didn't get content ID'd. Anyway, get focused down. So I lay down the music for a section, and then I start laying down the audio clips, and I record. I don't do the entire script in one go, because I will make mistakes like crazy and I'll mess it up. I do a paragraph at a time, which is why it takes me so long to record stuff. So every one of these blocks is one paragraph of my script. So we start off here and we've got, this is paragraph 1 of my script. Powering MGR, MMPR, Power 1.wav, always in WAVs. Gotta have the high quality. And I lay down basically the whole episode. I used to do it one at a time, but what I started doing was I find that was taking me ages and I wasn't doing very good at planning ahead. So I started laying down segments and then picking the music I want for it. Sometimes if I need to, I'll loop the music. I'll find a moment where I can loop the track. I've done that a few times and no one's noticed, so I guess I'm getting away with it. But I didn't have to here because I wanted to play plenty of the music. The reason why some of the music is blue and some of it is green is because if it's blue, then I've probably just recorded the music off of YouTube. I've game captured the screen and just chucked it all into the video, which is lazy and not the way you're supposed to do it. If you're a real person doing this, you should be capturing the audio directly from the cartridge, which I used to do, but the problem with that is quite often The music tests on the games just loop the music continuously, which isn't ideal. So I don't always do that. I like to have a start and a finish point on the music, so if I can time it with the finish point, I can end the song like I did there. So shall we start this? We'll start watching through. I've blown up the video as big as I can without hiding the entire timeline down here. My layout is terrible and I use assembly for everything. I'm pretty sure I meant to use editing for everything, but I don't. But I think editing's better use when you've got 2 tracks of video, which would probably come in handy when I'm doing my reviews with Yopper Ranger, but I don't use that. So let's start playing it. I'm going to have no sound here because I put the audio through my earphones and it didn't come up. Obviously I messed it up, I don't know. But main theme, these are the last thing I put in, these lower thirds. I'll show you my lower thirds first. Let's just go in and we'll pop on here and we'll go to effects. And so, oh, come on, load it. Right, so my lower thirds, real simple. I put down my lower third. Now whenever you put anything into Adobe Premiere, it stays there for 5 seconds, like any picture or something, that's the default length. So I put this down and I stretch it out 1 second longer. And for the first half a second, I move it in. And I don't do anything fancy with these. I used to have them bump up and pop back a little bit, but I'm really bad at that. Under the Moons is the guide to go for if you want to have nice bouncy stuff. I just wanted to slide in, stop, text come up, slide out. I would like to animate this somehow though one day. I kind of imagine the pixels forming, like going and form the thing. But I don't know how to do that. I'm not that skilled. I just want to prove to you that anyone who's an idiot like me can make one of these videos. But I come in for half a second and then exit out. So when you watch this bar will go across, in, and then the text comes up on the screen, which I used to do a pixelate effect on, but it's not good. And now, boom, there you go. And what I do is I copy that, and at the end of the video, it's the last thing I ever do on the video, I just copy and paste how many times I need it through the video and chuck it in. I haven't had a need to use those lower thirds for much else other than music credits, and I put music credits in the video because that is the thing people will ask in the comments. So yeah, that's the easiest thing to do. Put it on the screen. Do you know what? In terms of YouTube algorithm, it'd probably be smarter of me to not put them there, wouldn't it? Because people would just ask and then I'll get comments. Whatever. Let's go. Playing the theme music here, and my intention was to try and do something like the intro to the Power Rangers show, where you get a little bit of vehicle, a little bit of Ranger action, and then it goes to here's your next cast member. That was my intention, back and forth. I did have an idea for this. I was going to cut faster, but I don't think it works so well when you're dealing with static images like this. I think when you cut back and forth fast, you need something a bit more dynamic, something that film can do. I'm going to be trimming this down a little bit. Here's the Reacting Sentai Yopper Ranger logo. I drew that. It's all in pixels. You can't tell because it's tiny. That was that 720p pixel art that I did. Waste of time. Should have just drawn it. Should have just typed it out. I didn't know. I just wanted to make it look a certain way. One day I'll do that in Japanese. That'll be a thing. There's some footage of Zyuranger, which somehow I didn't get content ID'd for. Who knows? This is from that. I mean, that's a real image. Okay, this thing here. Let's go back a little. This is a real thing that happened. There was a stage show with a whole bunch of Toei and Tokusatsu all-stars. To point out who's here, there's Spider-Man. I think that's Kamen Rider Sky Rider. I think there's Kamen Rider Stronger, Battle Fever J are all around here, and is that Red Man? I think it is at the back, who's a bit obscure. And there's Doraemon, just because. But when you search for Tokusatsu, that's the first image that comes up. I've got that in a folder somewhere. That was actually I was going to take this special filming description, pop that on the screen, and then use that photo elsewhere. I thought, yeah, that would be a smart thing to do. Put them side by side, because that would be a good photo, because it's a fun photo of Tokusatsu. It's Spider-Man, see? And yeah, it just so happened to be the default image for Tokusatsu. The clip in the background is from episode 1 of Go Kaija, Kaizuko Sentai Go Kaija, where it starts off as if there was some massive war that happened, and I thought when I first watched this that there was a film I should have watched first. Turns out there isn't. That's just how the show starts, because that's what Super Sentai does. And that was famously misused in Power Rangers. And here we go, this is something I've started doing, because, rather than creating the thumbnails in Photoshop, I'm not very good at making dynamic thumbnails I don't even use Photoshop, I use GIMP. I'm creating them in the video. I just do it there. So, yeah, I create the thumbnail in the video, hit print screen, I've got a thumbnail. It's lazy, but it works. If you're better with one medium like this, you're better at making something a bit more dynamic than a still image, go for it. I mean, obviously, if you're working in GIMP, you can do something a bit more, uniform and stuff and make it work, but to be honest, there was no need. I was only going to end up with something that looks similar to this. I wanted the Megazord big. The logo's really awkward and doesn't really sit anywhere. So's Mellow Gaming Recommends logo, really. I should have come up with a better name for the show. But anyway, let's push this on. I can't hear my voiceover when it kicks in, so doesn't matter. I'll be turning the volume down. Character select screen at start. Billy, Best Ranger. It's Morphin time. This is from OC Remix. OC Remix, they've got a YouTube channel. They've been going for over 10 years of just remixing music and chucking it all up on YouTube. People doing their own remixes and they release them through their service and all this. There's the Harvest Moon Story of Seasons game. That's a thing for another video one day. And OC Remix do really cool stuff, and if you want music for your videos that isn't going to get content ID'd, go with them, because they won't content ID you, and all they want is a credit. So if you just put a link to their website in the description, you're set. Trini, Best Ranger, rest in peace. Toy Trang, she died. Poor woman. I have no idea what my commentary's saying on this bit, but I wanted to use some clips from the earlier parts of the game here. There's Billy's awesome jumping kick. I've always loved that jumping kick. There's Zack, who, we'll get onto that sprite later. I should have put the script up here. Shall I show you the script? Let's look at my desktop. Let's shrink that down. There's a Catra and Scorpia. I love that screenshot. But we'll open this up and we'll go. Well, this is the subtitle version of the script, because I kind of ruin my scripts after a while. Normally it'll be broken into paragraphs. There is a paragraph version somewhere, but this is the script I upload to YouTube when I'm doing my scripts, my subtitles. But yeah, it is in total, this episode, 2,451 words. That includes the title, but whatever. That's becoming about the average length for my episodes. The early ones were 1,600, but then some of them are crazy long. To give you an idea of scale for how long these episodes can end up, let's open the Disgaea one. Disgaea Anniversary. This is a long time ago. 2018, man. Oof. This one, I never did subtitles for this. I'll do that one day. 7,988 words. So yeah, this Power Ranger script was literally 1/3 that length. But yeah, we got this. There's nothing much going on here. We're just talking about Power Rangers game, the way it works. There's some clips. This is actually... so I'm talking about the putties from Power Ranger at this point. But that's footage from Zoo Ranger. I don't even think this clip is in Power Rangers. I'm pretty sure it's Zoo Ranger only. Let's skip ahead, because we're getting to the next part. Area 1 City. That piece of music is fantastic. It's probably my favourite piece from the game. And I think that was the one I picked out on the last Mellow Gaming Recommends when I was talking about, classic video game music, which, a few people watched. It's fun. It's a sewer level. That Jason sprite never looks quite right to me. He never really wore white shirt with red sleeves and stuff. He always wore, quite often he'd be wearing the check waistcoat thing, wouldn't he? That's the Eye Guy. Was he called Eye Guy? Or was he called Igor? I might think he was called Eye Guy. But this is talking about the progression of the level here, and how they have a screen clearing special move, smart bombs, as we used to call them back in the day. I didn't get much footage of the Rangers using their special abilities without it being part of a combo, so I probably should have got more footage of that. It's worth, when you do videos, to make a note of what clips you're definitely gonna need, because I usually record a playthrough straight up and then I'll do a recording of specific stuff I need. But this didn't really need much specific stuff because it is a very simple game. There isn't unique hidden stuff to find in this game. It is very much just, here's the game. There's two things in the game, isn't there? There's the scrolling beat 'em up and there's these battles. In case you can't tell, I don't know if I made it clear during the video about the power gauge charges up automatically, and each section is a different weapon you use. I just right there. Boom. You can see it building up. I use the little short blast, which is a laser blast from the head, not a thing in the game in the series, but that's cool. And then that's the big one. That's the one that's meant to wipe out a mass of your enemy's health, and I always try to finish them with that because it looks cool. That's Cyclopsis. He was piloted by Bandora's son in Zyuranger, a little child who died. Or at least she thought he had died. And then this evil god made her, like, you know, a witch, and she forgot all about her son and stuff. There's a whole arc. I can't remember exactly what happens. There's a good level. That was a thing we used to get in old games, wasn't it? Hagane. This game. Text all over the screen there. Hagane is a game that me and Kev found in a second-hand shop. Kevin, my Reacting Sentai Yoppa Ranger co-host. We found in a second-hand shop in Burton-on-Trent for like £4 in the 90s, and we played it a bunch, and it is a difficult-ass game. It is a really good game with an amazing soundtrack. He can't find his copy, and it regularly goes for £250 and up. It shouldn't, because basically a bunch of YouTubers years ago basically didn't do their research properly, and you know how a lot of them are very America-centric. They'd say stuff like, it was only ever available in Blockbuster and all this sort of stuff, because I think they found a few copies that had Blockbuster stickers on them. But there's no evidence it actually was just available in Blockbuster. It might have just had a low print run. I'm not entirely convinced, and it was definitely available in the UK, so it had a worldwide release. It should not be £250 for a copy of Hagane. Put that to rest now. Also, I'm only also saying that because, you know, I want it to not be £250. I would love a box copy of this game. If anyone's a rich sugar daddy out there, please. I'm kidding, don't. But yeah, when I got redundancy money recently, one of the first things I did was look online at this, and I almost bought a copy, but I couldn't determine which ones are real or fake on eBay. I need to see it with my eyes. If you're spending that much on a game, get your eyes on it, because there are so many fakes out there. Anyway, let's move on from Hagane. Such a good game. I highly recommend just downloading the ROM for that and emulating it, because crime pays. This thing here, I can't remember the name of the website. What did I call... Where is it? That's the music visualizer. I didn't call it. I found a website that does music visualizers. I think it's called Zoom or Voom or something. And you put music on there and it does a visualizer, but it does visualizers with plain colour backgrounds. So one of the things I did, where's my MMPR visualizer? I just recorded the screen. I played the music, captured the screen, and yeah, it's right there. And I just keyed out the black background. There's the name of the site. Hang on, let's Veed.io. That's the website, and you can like play this video, and it will like that. But yeah, if you need a visualizer, that was highly recommended. And I just chroma keyed out the black, and I lined it up with here because I thought it looked nice. And yeah, that was quite a neat little find, that. Yeah, I just captured the screen. That's how I do a lot of stuff. I just capture the screen. Like the Power Rangers trailers and the music and stuff like that. If you got shadow play, you might as well just capture the screen, mightn't you? You know, it does the job. But I was quite proud of that visualizer thing. I might make that a thing whenever I talk about the music, because I do like to talk about the music. I'm not a music-minded person in terms of being able to verbalise what I like about music. You know, I'm not that great with it. I know I like my complex stuff, I like my chiptune stuff, I like my prog, my metal, but you know, I just wanted to make it a thing in the videos. It's all the games that she's done. I said Natsume Pro Wrestling here, but it's Natsume Championship Wrestling, and I got so many games I thought it'd be funny to, like, you know, do a little visual gag where she disappears behind the games as they all appear, and she has to pop up over the top, which means... And I nested them all. I nested a whole bunch of stuff. So there's like... I like nesting. If you see a green thing here, that's a nest, which is basically where I've taken multiple images and then shrunk them all down into one. Let's zoom in. I don't think you can unnest them. I don't know if I want to break the whole thing. But yeah, all this is nested. So I popped each one of these in with my token drop shadow. I was going to move them onto the screen, but I thought that might be a bit too much, and I wanted this movement to stand out a little bit when she does that. But once I got that in place, nest it all down together, and you get a nice, neat and tidy timeline, because I don't like a messy timeline on my videos. You know, some people have these stacks and stacks of stuff, and they think it makes them look like they've done some crazy amount of editing. No, nest that shit down. Your friggin' RAM will thank you for it afterwards. You know? Pfft. You don't need that. And this just so happened to line up with the end of the song. So I was like, let's play out the song at full volume for a second and people can enjoy it. And, just end the level there. There's the Skull guy. He's from episode 4 or 5 of Zoo Ranger, I think. We've covered that one on the Opera Ranger. And fade out, just as Trini transforms. Right, I use music from Shatterhand here. Shattered Missile Command. This is like me foreshadowing that I'm going to talk about Shatterhand later. And also because Shatterhand has amazing music, so why wouldn't I? But I thought I'd match up these two intro sequences here so you can see the Power Rangers and the Zoo Ranger intro. I always thought it was funny that Trini's character was called Boy in Japan. I never knew about this. I went on Slope's Game Room Discord and said, does anyone know a Japanese game that was, really obviously changed for the Western markets? And someone mentioned Kama no Ninja Hagemaru. And I was like, I've never heard of that. And then I looked it up and was like, oh, it was Yonoid, that game that loads of YouTubers take the piss out of and say sucks. But do you know what? Yonoid's actually really good, and so is Kama no Ninja. Give them a go. They're fun games. I really like them. They're like proper NES games. There's a lift level. Every belt scrolling beat 'em up needs a lift level. Is this a belt scrolling beat 'em up? I think I called it that. But yeah. There's a Zoo Ranger game by Arc System Works on the Famicom. It's not very good. Every time I've played it, I just give up by level 2. I can read a little bit of Japanese now. That says ku ko ko. I don't know what that says. That might be yo. Yoku koko made. Yoku koko made. Yeah? I don't know. I can't read much. That's kono. I know that one. See, I'm learning Japanese. Puya puri puri ka kan no. I don't know what that means. I can just read it. These knives suck. You get knives in the game. Your gun's better than the knives. Like, you start off with a long range weapon, it's better than the knives, but you're supposed to collect up these. I've just never liked it. This game's better. This is more like a Mega Man game. The boss fights suck, but the game itself, I quite like the stages. And like this is what I think of with NES games and Famicom games. Just, a nice small sprite, efficient design. I couldn't get this to emulate, so I just went on World of Long Plays. The Sufami Turbo, which will appear on screen here. You can't see it too well here, but the Sufami Turbo is like a cartridge with 2 separate cartridge slots on it. And you'd have sometimes a game would just run off one cartridge, and the Sufami Turbo itself would have all the main stuff that makes a ROM work on a console. And what you'd get in that little cartridge that you'd plug in to one of the 2 cartridge slots, or both slots, is the ROM, which is the actual game code and the graphics and all that sort of stuff. And so sometimes you'd need 2 cartridges in there, so you might need a Sailor Moon one in one side and Car Ranger in the other, and you plug them both in, and it will use the game data from one game, but then put the graphics from the other one over it, and it would be like a merging of the 2. It's a really weird thing, but the idea was to make games cheaper. So you'd buy that Sufami Turbo for £25, and the cartridges would be about, I think, 15-20 quid in Japan. So obviously quite a lot cheaper than the 50 quid they'd probably be, or however many yen it is. But that was the idea. It's very similar to the Aladdin Deck Enhancer, but without the Aladdin Deck Enhancer only had 1 cartridge. Look up about the Aladdin Deck Enhancer on the internet. I'd recommend Gaming Historian's video on it because it's an interesting thing. It's a NES thing made by Codemasters just for the US, and it's an interesting little thing. But that's the Gekiso Sentai Car Ranger game, which I haven't played because I can't get it to work. And when I mentioned there's lots of Power Ranger games, I had to include a clip of Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, which Paul and I played on the channel. Got us a ton of views. I don't know why that's got me a ton of views. And all this jumping around. I thought the game was bugged, the controller was broken or something. No, it's the game. I thought it was the controller. There's some footage of the Gal Ranger game there, which I pinched from a channel, I think. But that's naughty. I can't remember the name of the channel. I should have credited them. Bollocks. I just captured the footage because I needed it. We'll find him. Okay, I'm really proud of this, right? There's an edit here that I don't think anyone noticed, and it's going slow. Don't go slow. Right. Okay, so Dino Charge. What happens here? Bum bum. Oh, it changes to Japanese. Look at that. I tried to match up the 2 shots. Did I do that well? Did I do it well, Daddy? See? So I made it change from English to Japanese, as I mentioned that the Power Rangers Dash game was turned into Ultra Super Sentai Dash in Japan, which is the exact same game. I think they added a Flashman character team to it. I'm pretty sure that might be in the English version as well. That's Power Rangers The Fighting and Gundam Wing Endless Duel. They're good. I was playing that Endless Duel game is great. Classic building destruction in Spielban. This is one of the Metal Hero shows. I've started watching Chojinki Metalda recently, which is the Metal Heroes show that VR Troopers was based on. And there's Shatterhand and Super Rescue Soulbrain, and Shatterhand is where this music came from. Highly recommend playing these. Like, if you want a classic NES action game, they are fantastic. Like, top tier action games on the NES. They're ones I'd put up there with like Power Blade and like, you know, good action games. Not Mega Man, because Mega Man games suck. Ha! Not really, they're good, but I just can't play them. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to match these. I really should have put more effort into making sure the footage matched on both sides, but I didn't really think about that when I recorded it. I also accidentally recorded those at 4K, so yeah, when I put them in, it was zoomed straight in on the sprite. There's Tommy. He says back to action, and Tommy's upset about that. Yeah, there's his puffy shoulder armour, which was because they didn't have the original Zoo Ranger one. That's why his armour changes. This clip is from Kira Major episode 32. This aired like the week before I edited this, and I had to put this in here when I was talking about giant monsters and robots. Like, that's Kev picking his nose. This whole sequence in that episode was astounding. Like, you've got, how many elements have we got going on here? We've got one monster fight there, separate monster fight there, and a third one over here just coming in. So they're all shot separately on a model set in front of a green screen, and all timed up to this camera motion that's going on with the actors down here. And this is on a kids' TV show that is made one episode a week for a year. They don't have a lead time to develop this stuff. They have a week to make these episodes. There's a CGI sword coming in. In this bit after here, an explosion goes off, blasts here, they get blown up and there's a cut, and the camera rolls around and it comes back up and they're facing the other side. Like, this is a TV show made for kids. Could you imagine, like, you know, any Biker Grove going to this effort? Any kids TV show outside Japan doing that? I had to use this clip, Kev. Took me a few seconds to find that exact moment in the video. There's Billy's attack. Can't remember the name of that monster. Passwords for the multiplayer mode. I thought I'd put the cheats on the screen like the Games Master, because that's what I am, the Games Master. Boss fights aren't the best in that game. It doesn't work too well in multiplayer. It's very stodgy. Because you don't really have counters or anything. It's like, if you happen to swing and hit someone, you hit them. Still, it's better than the Mega Drive fighting Power Rangers game they did. The one-on-one fighting game for the Mega Drive is terrible. It's the only Power Rangers game I've purchased and then traded in. There's a bit from the intro again, Toy Train, and Austin St. John and Walter Jones, who has a missing finger. Hold on a sec. Can we see that? Where's Walter Jones? I don't know if you'll be able to see it any time during here. He has a missing finger, and I only found out a couple of years ago. The amount of time I've watched Power Rangers, and I never noticed that he's missing his little finger. His index finger, it's not his middle finger, it's next one along. But I never noticed that for years. This is from the transfer of power. Austin St. John, Walter Jones and Toy Train had already left by this point. And so they had been like body doubles for weeks on end, and occasionally there'd be like a reaction shot of them. That's clearly from another episode. And even though Tommy was the White Ranger at that point, he was always wearing green in those episodes because they had to keep using old footage, and of course he was wearing green in that old footage. So it was just like, the episodes are really Billy, Kimberly and Tommy heavy, and then those three assholes turn up. I like that bit. That's action packed, it's fun. When he blocks that the first time, there's that awkward Zack sprite. There's Bulk and Skull. And I stand by my claim that they're the closest thing America got to the Chuckle Brothers. I think I'm right there. But I'm right, yeah. That looks bad. That looks like a chimpanzee. Like, he looks racist. I know the Japanese are like sometimes a little bit funny with black folk. So, I don't know. I mean, you just need to look at Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball Z. Like, we made a whole big thing in Britain to get rid of gollywogs, and then you get Mr. Popo on the screen in Dragon Ball Z, and it's dodgy as hell. That's Troll Guy. We covered that episode of G Ranger on Yopper Ranger as well. Big old Troll Guy. What was his? I'm sure his name's Idol or Igor. It's probably I Guy. I remember the Genie Guy vaguely. I can't remember what his episode was. But yeah, these are all villains from the series, which I thought was nice. The Ninja Guy. He's got some research on Power Rangers, I guess. The sprite for all the Rangers, I should have mentioned this, the sprite for all the Rangers is the same for every character, which is weird because obviously Kimberly has a skirt in Power Rangers. I don't think I had a clip of Kimberly here, did I? No, I didn't. It's all Trini. Kimberly has a skirt in Power Rangers. Yeah, Trini doesn't have a skirt, but that's because Trini's character in Zhu Ranger is a boy called Boy, which is just strange, but they wanted 2 girls and 3 guys on the show. It makes sense, a bit more diversity on the characters. They stopped gender swapping certain characters around after Time Ranger. I think Time Force was the last series to do that. But yeah, they've all got the same sprites. They're all slightly buff, which does mean Trini, the skinniest of all the Rangers, looks just as bulky as Jason and Zack and all that. It's a shame you can't play as the Green Ranger on this, really. It's kind of surprising. I always thought, maybe they could have had him be a late entry, but I really think this was largely conceptualised and developed early on. But considering Zhu Ranger had already aired in Japan, surely they know that they're going to have the Green Ranger. There's your credits for the Patreon guys. Amy, Cardinal Smith, Matthew Smith, that's my brother, and Under the Moons. Watch Under the Moon's videos because he can actually edit. There's a clip from from Yakuza that I quickly captured off the screen, hence why the watermark's there. Because I'm, if I hit 50 quid on Patreon, then I want to do a Yakuza thing. I'm going to actually write it as I go along. I'm going to play through the games and write their part of the script. I'll probably even start making the episode. I'll make a segment and just save it and gradually put it together so it doesn't take me 10 months to make the entire video. But yeah, there's a classic hold frame for the end. This is for the end slate, and it changes colour slightly here. Boom, it goes bright again. Shouldn't have gone bright, it should have faded out. I took it the wrong moment. But yeah, that is the end. Why are you playing still? Oh, I know why you're still playing, because I put all that there, didn't I? Let's clear that. But yeah, that's the episode. There wasn't much for me to say. This is how I edited it. I mean, I don't know if you want to see the movement keyframes on this. I can't show you because I nested that track, didn't I? So you can't see any of it. I could if I unnest it, I've got a feeling that'll break. Can I unnest it? I don't think I can unnest it, can I? You can only nest again. No, I think once it's nested, you're stuck with it unless you Control Z out. But on keyframes, you go to movement. What's going on here? That's why I faded out. Sometimes if I want everything to fade out at the same time, I will make a little nest of the last few seconds and then highlight everything into that nest and fade them all out together. That way, because if you do that, if you were to fade out everything individually at the end, as they fade, you would see this one and this one behind this one. But if you nest them all together and fade out, then you don't get that. You don't get that ghosting behind the thing. But yeah, if you want to do movement and stuff, click on here. You got your keyframe, and then you go to here, and let's just say raise the entire lot up. You have to press down to go up, and boom. That's how you do it. But I'm gonna Control Z that. Control Z Z Z. But yeah, you just highlight a move where you want it to go, and you can use this one's got the movement keyframes on it. There you go, because there it is. You can see those numbers there, and just go. I didn't do anything special with it, straight up, and then fade out with everyone else. And you can see there what I mean about her disappearing behind those, because I didn't nest her in with them. I just nested all these together. But yeah, anyway, that is my rather haphazard little facts and information about the Mellow Gaming Recommends episode of about Power Rangers. And yeah, tell me what sort of stuff you want me to focus on these, because it is a bit rambling, it is a bit nonsense. And yeah, whenever we do another one, we'll put them together. Or maybe sometimes I might do a thing where we rocket through a couple of episodes together in one video. We'll see how it goes. I still don't know how I'm going to present this. I don't know if it's going to be a live video, probably a midweek video or something. It'll be on the Patreon for a week anyway. So anyway, I'll catch you all later. Thank you for watching, and bye.